Hi everyone, I'm in our discussion board here and thank you for all the great contributions that you've done. A lot of great ideas and I know that there's a few questions and clarifications, so I thought I'd just do a quick little video here and explain, especially Julia I think was bringing up some questions here, so thank you for that. And you're absolutely right, Digo is where you would be sharing some resources. But what I want to really tackle is the difference between using Google Docs, Google Sites, and Google Plus in when you're thinking about different tools. And this is something all of us educators will be doing, is that we have to analyze basically which tools to use, and what I would recommend is really clarify what is the objective that you're trying to accomplish first. So be very clear to yourself about that. And then you can, and this is where this course really comes in, is that getting some experience on a lot of different tools out there, and then trying to choose the best tool that will solve your or meet your objectives. So that's really what you're trying to do. So everyone's going to be a little bit different here, and as you can see in our discussion boards, we have all different ideas because we're into either teaching, some of us are training, some of us have our own businesses, things like that. So it's a variety of different reasons and things we're trying to do with these tech tools. So I wanted to give you a real life example of in my day job. Actually, I'm an instructional designer for Lewis University, and when I first got there, they really were lacking in any help resource site for instructors or students actually. So I work in the team about 3 people, and I also have a grad assistant and 2 student workers. So I had the ability to collaborate with several people, and so I knew that. So I knew I wanted to have shared documents where we could all be editing the same document. But I also needed something that we could present to our Lewis community, in which they could go to and have this resource site. So let me just show you kind of what I'm talking about. So here is the resource site that anyone with a link actually can access this site. Well, you can actually Google and search it too. And so this is actually the student help site. Let me get over to the other one though. So we'll start with the instructor site here. 1 second. So you can see I have different sites set up here. And that's the nice thing about Google. I think it's an unlimited amount of sites that you can actually have. So I do get into the habit of creating different little websites here. And really the difference between Weebly and Google Sites, there really isn't much difference, to be honest with you. Cost would be a factor. Google is free. Weebly is about $35 a month if you want to make multiple sites and have unlimited pages now. So free is always good, but Weebly is a little bit more user-friendly than I would say Google Sites. That would be my only criticism of Google Sites right now. And at the very end, I'll show you the little bit of a tricky, it has to do with organizing pages. So other than that, it's very, very easy to use. So we're here, and you can see that we have this resource site here and all these different links on the side. And that is the biggest difference right there between doing a Google Doc and a Google Site. So if you're dealing with a lot of information and you want to be able to organize that information, you're probably going to want to choose a Google Site versus a Google Doc. Now, you can always place Google Docs within your Google Site, and that's exactly what we've done here. So let me just show you. We've created a bunch of tutorials in Google Docs, and so here's an example of our tutorial. And what happens is that I can collaborate with my team on this document. It gives us a URL because of the sharing, so you've all been through this, and so we have that ability to get the URL. And so when I go back to my Google site, we've just linked that document. All right, so you can see all the different documents that we have contributed to this wiki site basically, and they're done by a variety of different people. Most of it has been a collaborative effort among people in our department, and so you can see that using Google Docs really benefits us in one way, but then if we went to the actual Google Doc though, there's no way to list more information, so I can't have multiple pages. So if I was going to do a lot of tutorials, they'd be scrolling forever to find them. So it's not a real handy way to organize a lot of information, and that's where the Google Sites comes in. Okay, and so I can have all these different pages. I'll just click on one. We have educational videos here, for example, and again, it's just a listing. And these are all, now these are links that are going to outside resources, okay, so you have that ability too. The other thing about Google Sites is that I can actually, people can leave comments here for me if they want, so you can actually have a dialogue with the outside world if you wanted to. Okay, so that's another benefit there. Now, going to Google Plus, the reason why in this situation resources really wouldn't work out over here, because as you can see, even if we posted a lot of different resources, they get buried. So it's really not a useful way of organizing a lot of information. It is a great way to have discussions or posting links to our community out there. You know, don't forget in adding a link in here. So it's wonderful for that. But really, when you're talking about a Google site, when you're compiling, just like we are in class, a lot of information, I would really suggest using a website builder such as Google Sites, Weebly, Wix is out there, and there's a few others. So I would really encourage you to think about it. Most all of them have collaborative aspects to them, so it really comes down to cost. What do you get for the money, basically? So you want to look at that also. Okay. So anyhow, so that's the rundown between the differences between Google Docs, Google Sites, Google Plus right now. There are, you know, other tools with Google too. So which is somewhat nice. With one email address that they do, students can have access to a lot of tools. But there's a lot of other things that we need to look at also, which I think have been brought up in the discussion board. Now, I promised you I would show you the little quirky thing about as a manager of the site, what you would have to do. Let's say I want to reorganize my pages over here. I'm just going to quickly show you this. So if you're interested in doing working with Google Sites, you'd have to go down to Edit Site Layout. So again, not that intuitive. So you'd go to Edit Site Layout, and then from here, you can see on the sidebar here, we get some editing kind of information right here. So you have to scroll down though, and then there's going to be this little pop-up Edit Sidebar here, and you want to click on that. Here's all my pages. Now when you get here, these will not be in here. You actually have to say Add Page, and you have to look for the page you want to add, okay? And then so let's say you have 10 pages, you have to add them all first, and then once they're added, you can click on them, and you can, let's say I'm here and I want to move this up, then I would click the up button or down button. So however, if you want to move it in so it's nested under another page, you would use the indent button. So again, I think Weebly does a much better job of, you know, it's drag and drop. A little bit easier there, but this still does the same work. Once you have it the way you want it, you just say accept and then close out of it. Then you're back in here again. Okay. The nice thing about Google Sites is that we can edit among each other. You know, I can give sharing rights. So that works the same way as Google Docs that you've experienced and everything. So anyhow, so that's the gist of it. So if you have any more questions, please post them. Sorry about the long video, but you can see why I chose to do a video and not write all this out. So anyhow, it was a good visual, I think, for you. But keep posting your ideas, and I look forward to seeing what you're doing on our wiki. Okay? All right. Thanks.